At 22, Amit Kataria was not just any young musician. A merit holder from Trinity College London, he specialized in rock and pop guitar. Amit, originally from Sector 66 Gurugram, was pursuing his musical dreams in Chennai. Acclaimed artists like Celine Dion had praised his talent. But tragedy struck in May last year. Amit met with an unfortunate accident while parking his car and was rushed to Artemis Hospital in Gurugram. Sadly, he didn't survive the night. Amit's father, Atul Kataria, alleges that it was medical negligence that took his son away.
On the day, his exams were over, his result was out, very good, excellent result he's got, and he was coming back to UK. He booked his flight also, because being a musician, I think he had a very bright perspective in UK, and he had received some very good feedbacks, and people like Celine Dion also, some of his leads, they have also commented on his performance, on his composition which he was doing. So on that evening, on 10th of May 2022, he went out to to eat something in the market. He came back when he was parking the car, and towards the end of the parking, he was supposed to take a right turn, but instead the car was smashed into the wall, and behind the wall there were generator sets. So the car hit the generator set at an angle where the entire front of the car came towards him. He was still wearing a seatbelt, so there was no head injury that saved him, but seems the steering wheel did hit him on his chest, and I think his knee was also smashed up at that point of time. The security people and all the helpers in the building, it's a palm tribe, so big complex. So they all came, about 15-20 of them. They took him out from the car, and his mother, she tried to call Artemis, which was the closest hospital. First Artemis said that there's no ambulance available. So there was a gentleman in the building who helped, who offered to help, and then in his Innova, he took the Amit to the hospital in Artemis, in emergency and trauma center.
Amit was rushed to Artemis Hospital's emergency department at about 9:50 p.m. He was declared dead just 2 hours later at 11:53 p.m. His father, Atul Kataria, claims that while the doctors attended to the visible external injuries, they overlooked the critical chest injuries, which he believes led to his son's tragic demise.
The doctor seems like they ignored all his the chest injuries, and they were focusing on his knee because that was bleeding at that point of time. And they say we'll clean the bone of the knee, and then we will then they will take him for a CT scan. And no one bothered that. Okay, they're looking at the limbs instead of the life-threatening injuries which no one noticed. It was then his mother, she noticed that his face was getting swollen and he had swelling on his neck also. And then she called the doctors at that point in time. So I think he was being attended by nurses, not by the doctor at that time. And the doctor came, and then they tore his t-shirt, and then they saw the bruises on his chest. And still then they did not do any chest x-ray. Then the doctors told everyone to be out from the emergency room, and we don't know exactly what happened. They say we'll put him onto the ventilator, and as soon as they put him on the ventilator, within 10 minutes, they say he went into the BT, which is like I think he's probably died. They say they spent 1 hour trying to do CPR. They give him a shock, and then after 1 hour they declare him dead at 11:53 at night on the 10th of May itself. And when we went for the postmortem, so at the postmortem, I could clearly hear that they could have easily saved him, and they put a chest tube, because in the postmortem they found that his chest cavity, the lung cavity, it had 1 liter blood in there, and he had about almost 5 to 6 bones were broken. So which came as a shock that why the doctors were not even did an X-ray on his chest when they could clearly see. And they completely ignore his, the life-threatening situation, and they were still attending to the knee. I asked the doctors that when they did the CPR and did any bone broke of my son, did the break? Everyone denied that yes, none of his bones were broken. I asked them the question that okay, if that's the case, then why there were 6 to 7 bones were broken and people didn't do the X-ray? They admitted that there was a portable X-ray machine next to the bed in the emergency room. They still did not do it. They said there was no time for us to do the X-ray.
The postmortem of Amit revealed that he had suffered fractures in 5 to 7 ribs on the left side of his chest. Following these findings, the civil surgeon of Gurugram set up a district medical board for negligence to investigate the family's allegations. The board in its report states, Dr. Saket Bharadwaj had recently joined as a junior resident in the surgery department and admitted that he had never put a chest tube on his own but had assisted the procedure 2 to 3 times till May 2022. The report goes on to add, the postmortem report clarifies that the blood was collected in the thoracic cavity which was not drained by inserting an ICD tube. Blood transfusion was neither arranged nor given. Therefore, essential life-saving treatment was not rendered at the golden hour, resulting in adverse consequences to the deceased.
The doctor who attended my son, he's a general surgeon. He only had 3 months of experience. I don't know what was he doing in the emergency. He has just passed out from MBBS and he was attending my son. The in charge of emergency at that point, he had only six years of experience. He was a junior doctor. The orthopedic surgeon, he also had less than 1 year of experience. And I learned that the person who did the UCG, the ultrasound, it was some student who did it. The only person who was on call was Dr. Paritosh Gupta. He didn't come to the hospital at all, and he told the Dr. Sake that he has to do whatever best he could do with emergency. We also noticed that the hospital records have been tampered gravely. What does even the medical board has to say? Who are the people who should be in emergency? Should they be the just pass out MBBS? Where are the regulations? All of them were students except the 6 year experience. He was a junior doctor, and except the consultant and on-call Paritosh, Gupta doctor. The board's report came, and I was really shocked that the way board has written it down, that it could be ignorance or negligence. They did not give a conclusive answer on that. I mean, even a class 12 student can write a much more precise summary. And I met the SHO and the IO. Both of them, they avoided me at that point of time. And then later on, from the media, I came to know that an FIR was done against 4 doctors. After the FIRs, nothing was being done. And then I started chasing the IO again that, okay, why CCTV footage was not there? And then he told me, sir, because the medical board has written negligence. As per the Jacob Matthews case, it's not written gross negligence, so there cannot be criminal case against the doctors. So we are cancelling that FIR. So at this point of time, police is trying to wrap up the case. Hospital is pressurizing to whosoever, I don't know, and I'm not getting justice. And my sons, they are delaying it again and again, so that I'm not getting any justice on this matter.
The report further adds, DC shock was given by the OP doctors without considering the consequences for the patient whose ribs were broken, fractured, and the treating team kept applying force on the deceased's chest, and broken bones of the rib cage might have punctured the lungs to the extent of no return. The report concludes by stating, the treating team of Artemis Hospital Gurugram has exhibited a lack of competence, inaction, and wanton indifference to their patient's safety, which is found to have arisen from ignorance or negligence. The Health Authority of Artemis Hospital Gurugram owes a direct as opposed to a vicarious duty of care to the patient and may be held liable for negligence. After the release of the report, an FIR was lodged against 4 doctors from the hospital. However, the victim's family and their legal counsel assert that the journey towards justice seems to have hit a standstill.
9:45 p.m., patient reached the hospital. Till 10:45, dot 1 hour, nothing takes place in the hospital. The board in its reports specifically and categorically mentions, and I read if you allow me, it says, the treating team of the hospital has exhibited a lack of competence, inaction, and wanton indifference to their patient safety. Now, question arises, why are we going to the hospital if the hospital cannot provide the safety to the patient? Patient's bones were fractured of rib cage in the accident, but throughout, no X-ray was done. CPR chest compression was administered. My question is, if the patient was having rib cage fractures, multiple fractures, as per the post-mortem it indicates, then pressing the chest is a threat to the life to the patient. Surprisingly, no bill for X-ray, no bill for ultrasound, but there's a fake ultrasound report. If there was an ultrasound you have conducted, why didn't you charge the patient? And surprisingly, all the doctors did not participate hearing before the medical board. Now, if the medical negligence board being set up and they are calling the doctors to give the statement, prove your case that you did not lack, they have no interest, they have no respect to come and give the statement, okay, this is what I did, this is what I assume, and this is the reality. Board decided without even calling again, without even asking the police authorities, state machinery to go and call the doctor to come and give the statement he participated in the treatment.
We reached out to Artemis Hospital seeking their comments on the allegations. As of now, we haven't received any response from their end. In a complex tapestry of grief, allegations, and the quest for answers, Amit Kataria's tragic demise raises urgent questions about medical accountability. As his family navigates the labyrinth of the justice system, key questions surface, highlighting the delicate balance between medical duty and the invaluable nature of human life. Amit's father expresses that in their relentless pursuit of justice, they confront not only the anguish of loss, but also the burden of systemic inertia, grappling with layers of bureaucratic red tape and the haunting spectre of unresolved questions.